I'm Robert Cossey. I'm the publisher of Canadian Contractor. I'm here with Steve Payne, editor, and we have a site tip brought to you by Home Hardware. We love Home Hardware.
Yeah, this site tip comes from our tools editor, Steve Maxwell. Steve's up on Manitoulin Island. He has a sort of a lab and a ranch up there, and he's written for us about caulking. This is the time of the year for maintenance caulking. Two things that people don't do when they do exterior caulking enough is to use backer rod and to use bond breaker tape.
Okay, so what's backer rod?
So backer rod comes from sizes of 1/4 inch up to 4-inch backer rod, which is kind of crazy.
Well, that's a gap.
But if you have a big gap, say in a window frame that's deep, and you've got
So this is the gap. This is the area you're going to caulk.
So you got expansion and contraction occurring across this plane here in this gap.
Yep.
You're going to fill this with caulk. You shouldn't have caulking more than twice the width times the depth. In other words, if this is a 1/2 inch here, the depth of it should be 1/4. It should always be twice as wide as it is deep. You put the backer rod in here.
Okay.
You control where the caulk is going. You use a lot less caulk. You also break the bottom of the seal with the caulking with this surface down here. This backer rod should go in 1/4 or 25% wider than the gap that you're filling with caulk.
So you mean the backer rod, like if the backer rod is 1/2 inch, then the gap that you have should be 1/4 inch less than that in order to fit it properly?
So if this is a 1/2 inch gap,
Yep.
you don't want your caulk going down more than 1/4 inch.
Okay.
A lot of people will just jam the caulk down there and fill this in. There's a whole bunch of reasons why that's bad, but in order for this caulking surface to expand and contract, it needs to be skinnier like this.
Okay.
If it gets deep, it's not going to work. And it's wasting material as well.
So that's backer rod. Now you said there was something else that we needed to be mindful of when it came to caulking in between hard surfaces in the cold.
So imagine this is a siding issue, it could be a window frame issue or door frame issue. You have 3 different pieces of material, 1, 2, and 3.
Does it matter what kind of materials they are, or
Could be
just
wood,
any kind of material?
Could be metal, could be stone, really any kind of material.
Okay.
You do not want to caulk this crack in here all the way down so you have a 3-surface bond with the caulk. So polyurethane caulk will expand and contract nicely,
Yeah.
but not if it's adhered to this bottom surface, or what I'd say the fixed surface. Because you can imagine as this piece goes back and forth,
Right.
this should be free, almost like slippery, so that the
I see.
caulk can expand and contract. Otherwise, it'll get hung up on here. It'll get fixed to the surface, and when it expands, it can rip. It can fry, it can break up.
Okay.
So, this is a bond breaker.
Right.
So bond breaker tape, you're actually going to take bond breaker tape, put it down at the bottom of the crevice or the hole, and make sure that that is there.
So really, the bonding that you get from the caulking can only be on 2 surfaces, and
Yep.
those surfaces move back and forth. You want it to stretch like a little rubber band in between
Yep.
the 2, and you can't have that rubber band stuck to something
so you
else.
don't caulk 3 different surfaces in a 3-surface bond.
Right.
You only want the adhesion of the caulk to here and here.
Yeah.
You want this to be free. How many contractors use bond breaker tape? You know, it's a different tape
Yeah.
from painter's tape or masking tape. It's called bond breaker tape. And the extremities that even great polyurethane caulk have to go through means you want to use bond breaker tape to make sure that you're not doing a callback or have a product failure. Caulking doesn't fail usually because of the materials. The materials are so good, they fail because they weren't installed properly. So you want backer rods and bond breaker tape. This is all thanks to Steve Maxwell. If you type in caulk, Steve Maxwell, and in our search bar at Canadian Contractor, you'll get the whole story on this with diagrams.
Thank you very much, Steve Payne and Steve Maxwell.